All right. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? As usual on Thursdays, I'm your host, Richie T, also known as Richard T, coming at you live today with some modern Dead Guy Ale. So now, before I get into the deck, I thought I'd start off by explaining to you guys why the heck is this deck called Dead Guy Ale and not Black White Midrange or Black White Stoneforge? Well, the reasoning that it's called Dead Guy Ale actually comes from the fact that originally the deck was a legacy deck that I ported over to modern because, well, that's kind of what I'm in the mood to do right now. Is just play different Stoneforge decks and see how they feel in modern. Well, the person who created this deck, whose name I cannot seem to find, was originally part of a testing group that they referred to themselves as Team Dead Guy. And since it was this person's brew, as people refer to as, decks you create on your own, they're not meta decks, he referred to it as Dead Guy Ale, as ale is a form of a brew, and his team was called Team Dead Guy. So there's a little history fact on that. But now let's get into the important part of it, which is the actual deck. So we have 7 fetch lands and 4 marsh flats, 3 verdants. The verdants could be any black fetch. 2 godless shrines, as we don't have scrub lands from Legacy. It's the next best dual land. But you don't want to play 4 like you do in the Legacy version because these ones do hurt. A good amount of basics in 6 rather. And 4 swamp, 2 plains, which is up 1 because instead of wasteland we have 4 field of the ruin, which grabs us basic lands. We have 3 concealed courtyards to try to do its best scrubland impersonation, but only really works on turns 1 through 3, or land drops 1 through 3 rather, so you don't want to have too many. Then we have a 1 of Shambling Vent for hopefully just when we get into those grindy games animating the land. Next up is our discard spells. We have 3 Inquisition of Kozilek, 3 Thoughtseize as a split for Inquisition being better against aggro decks, but Thoughtseize being better against decks that have, well, things above CMC3. We have 2 Collective Brutalities, really hedging for against the burn matchup with those. And then 4 Tidehollow Sculler, as it's a discard spell that is also an additional threat in the deck. For removal, we have 4 Path to Exiles, as we don't have Swords to Plowshares in this format. And with the combination of Field of Ruin, you actually can pressure your opponent's basics relatively easily in this deck. A Plague Engineer for just sweeping up tokens, and 2 Anguished Unmakings as our Vindicate and Council's Judgment slots. There aren't many things with hexproof that you want to deal with besides for like a Bogle, but we really don't have good answers other than maybe an Edict effect, but Anguished Unmaking can hit a lot more permanents such as Planeswalkers. Speaking of Planeswalkers, we have 4 Planeswalkers in the deck ourselves. 3 Liliana of the Veil, as she's probably the best Planeswalker in these colors. And then 1 Liliana of the Last Hope, as I feel like she's really good at grinding, being able to buy back more creatures, and also just pinging off X1s. Works kind of well with Plague Engineer. And then for the actual win conditions in the deck, we have 2 Lingering Souls for helping grind out opponents and also going wide. 4 Dark Confidants as a source of card advantage. A 1 of Bitter Blossom, as you really want, like, the card's really powerful, but at the same time this deck does use its life total as a resource with things like Thoughtseize and Anguish Unmaking, so you don't want to go too hard on that style of effect. And then of course the reason that we're playing this deck, and the reason this deck has become a thing people are talking about again in Modern, is the unbanning of Stoneforge Mystic. So we have 4 Stoneforges with 3 equipments, a Sword of Fire and Ice for card advantage, a Sword of Light and Shadow because we are actually pretty heavy on creatures, so picking creatures up is something we can do with this deck, and of course it wouldn't be a Stoneforge deck without Batterskull. Moving on to the sideboard, we have some extra removal spells and 2 Fatal Push. It's just the next best removal spell for this deck. A Disenchant for dealing with opposing Stoneforge Mystics, a second Plague Engineer for against the 1/1 decks, and a Zealous Persecution for along the same lines, but also just a nice combat trick. Another interesting fact, I'm hitting you with all the facts today. Disenchant was actually only modern legal because of time shift up until this recent core set. It had never been printed in a modern legal set outside of being time shifted. which I didn't realize and also found really interesting. Next up, we have some disruption in 2 Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, attacks the really annoying, like, Storm-style decks. 2 Campbells for along the same reasons, except it doesn't make their spells cost more, but it does, you know, pressure them into only having a certain amount of spells. And then we're pretty hard on the 4 Surgical Extractions, as it's a solid form of graveyard hate, but also really gives us a solid chance against Tron with all these Field of Ruins in our deck. And then we have a couple Planeswalkers in the sideboard and Akaya, which will help us grind out, but also is good against any deck that has a lot of 1 or less CMCs and also graveyard decks. And then a Gideon Ally of Zendikar for that little extra grind. Now, before we get on to the games, as per usual, we got to hop over and shout out momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com, as it is the best one-stop shop for anything you need Magic related. If you need any Snowlands, because, well, Snowlands are taking over every Eternal format, Mom's Basement Games has you covered. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, check down in that description box below for all the links I'm going to talk about. But try to tune in live on our Twitch sometimes. We'd super appreciate it. Everybody watching live on Twitch right now or on YouTube in the future, thank you. But try to give us a like on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at MomsBasementMTG. On top of that, everybody watching live on Twitch right now, you should check out our YouTube channel at some point for the best standard, modern, legacy, vintage, commander, and pauper content. On top of that, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter is at RichardTMTG. I talk Magic, League of Legends, TFT, memes, anything else you want to talk about, you can hit me up there and I'm always willing to talk. If you're looking for any more forms of social media you can find us at, you can find Mom's Basement Games on Instagram at Mom's Basement Games, or you can find me on Instagram at RichieT2196. But with that, I think you guys have heard me talk plenty enough today. How about we get into some games and test out some modern Dead Guy Ale? I actually faced this deck just yesterday at our locals. I was playing Urza in paper. Really impressed with that deck too. Unfortunately, it's not one you can really play on Moto, but his list was a little different than mine. We were pretty close. We had a couple different threats is all, but the deck seemed pretty impressive to me. So unfortunately, this hand could be really good if we draw another land, but we don't have anything to do on 1, so I don't really think we can afford to keep a 1-lander. So we're going to go ahead and mulligan. Okay. This hand is also not the best, but we have plenty of disruption. We can probably send this Field of Ruin back into our deck, and we can go like Thoughtseize into Tide Hollow and also have Path. So we're going to go ahead and keep. Put Field on the bottom. And hopefully we're not against like Burn or something, because we're about to do a lot of damage to ourselves. Because, well, actually I take that back. We're not going to do a ton of damage to us. We can actually just get a Swamp here. Yeah, we can just get a Swamp. So we're actually going to just grab Swamp and Thoughtseize our opponent. Alright, and it looks like we're facing Urza. I really don't think you need the Time Sieve in the deck, but hey. Our opponent wants it. They got it. So the choices are either the Astrolabe, the Opal, or the Teferi. I think the Time Sieve doesn't do quite enough on its own. And we don't really care about our graveyard that much, so I don't think we want the Spellbomb. So I think it's either the Astrolabe, the Mox Opal, or the Teferi. Teferi is definitely the most powerful card, but we are playing Tide Hollow Scullers moving forward. So I think we're just going to go ahead and take their best turn one play on the Astrolabe. And then pass it back to our opponent. Interesting. I wonder why my opponent had that stop. We're facing Thansu. Also, as mentioned, I will be doing the giveaway later today, but I will be doing it at the end of the stream. Better lucky than good, opponent. Draws another Astrolabe. Solid draw. So They played the polluted delta that we knew about, the mox opal that we knew about, and they still have these 4+1 new card. Inquisition's not a bad draw, but we're going to go ahead and just play Tidehollow Sculler. Alright, what do you got? Okay, so they drew another land. They drew the Watery Grave. So we're going to just go ahead and take the Teferi, as I just don't want them drawing extra cards. And it just resets the Tidehollow Sculler anyways. Island. So that was their draw for turn. Yep. So we know they have 2 lands in hand. Ooh, Stoneforge is a good draw. We can go ahead and start clocking our opponent with this. I think Batterskull is probably the fastest here. So we'll go ahead and grab Batterskull. Then we'll get in and attack our opponent for 2. So hopefully we did a good enough job at disrupting our opponent. Now it's just up to the top of their deck and how many cards they can draw. Our opponent spell bombs us and plays a Watery Grave tapped and a Mox Opal. Interesting. What do they have here? Thopter Foundry. That one's kind of annoying for us. Let's see, they can only make 1 Thopter right now, so we're pretty free to attack with our Tidehollow Sculler this turn. We know that the Flooded Strand is the last card in their hand, so our discard spells are kind of dead right now. So I think we're going to just go ahead and attack for 2. Then pass it back to our opponent with the plan on Stoneforging in this Batterskull. Alright, let's go ahead and put the Batterskull into play. Alright, ooh, and another Stoneforge. It's a solid draw. So I think we're going to start by moving to combat. And I don't really want to give them back this Teferi. So I think we're just going to attack with these 2. If they want to put some Thopters in front of it, they can go ahead. Oh, is this a whir? Yeah, this is definitely a whir for 2. Okay. That's gonna be pretty tough for us to beat, especially game 1. Oh, interesting. They, I think they misclicked and didn't make any Thopters before. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're actually locked out, I'm pretty sure. We'll see if our opponent sees it. So they can basically take infinite turns. I was talking crap about the time sieve and we're actually going to lose to it. Basically, they have 5 mana, so they can make 5 Thopters and take infinite turns now. I would like to search. And we'll go ahead and grab a Fire and Ice. Maybe they don't see it. And we'll just hit the old F6er. If they ever activate time save, I'll just concede. I just want to make sure that they see it. I assume they do based off the fact that they... based off the fact that they didn't block. Pretty sure our opponent's just going to sack 5 untapped Thopters and start taking all the turns. Yep. Just letting our opponent know that I didn't plan on making them play it out all the time. Just wanted to know that they've seen it. So in this matchup, Plague Engineer is really good, but I don't think we want a lot of our grindy cards here. Campbell seems really good. Kai is debatable. I don't think this is a Light and Shadow matchup. Don't really see this being a Bitter Blossom matchup. Brutality is okay. They actually play a decent amount of instants and sorceries. I think this is a match where we want all of our hand disruption. Fatal Push is kind of weak here. And I don't actually like Surgical because it's pretty hard to get into a spot where we can Surgical them. I think Lingering Souls are probably a little too grindy. I think we want some removal, though, for Urza. I think Kaya's probably too cute here. I think Fire and Ice can get us out of some tricky situations. I'm kind of thinking the Lilias might not be that good. I'm almost thinking about bringing in a Fatal Push for this Liliana the Last Hope. But Last Hope can ping Thopters away. Yeah, I think I'd rather have a Fatal Push. Just be able to deal with Urza more consistently. Brutality. I think I'd actually rather have Fatal Push and then like one Surgical than Brutality. And I think we're going to go ahead and try it like this. Man, if only this hand had a white source. So we need to draw a white source or another land. But we can snag their combo immediately, potentially. And we also have an early removal spell. I just don't think this is how you win the game against them most of the time. I think we're going to go ahead and mulligan this. Yeah, I think this hand's a lot better in this matchup. We have probably one of our best cards in Disenchant. We got good answers for Urza. The interesting thing is if we Shambling Vent on one so we can Sculler, or if we want to Thoughtseize them on one. Also, I think we put one of these Paths on bottom. And I think I'm more okay giving them a turn 1 than a turn 2. So we're just going to Shambling Vent pass here. You are seeing kind of the downside of the Shambling Vent, though, in a discard spell deck. Yep, bauble away. Or not bauble, Astrolabe away. Then bauble away, see? Knew what I was talking about the whole time. Ooh, Roberto. So it's kind of risky, but we have the Disenchant. We have a lot of good things in our hand. I think I'm fine just taking a Swamp and just kind of hoping our opponent doesn't play anything that bad, but getting this Dark Confidant down to hopefully hit us some land drops and get us some future card advantage. Okay, they're the Stoneforge version. Interesting. Really glad we have all this removal in our deck then. Wonder if they're grabbing Sword or Batterskull. They choose Batterskull. Dark Confidant flips us a Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. So I think our plan is going to be to play a land, Thoughtseize them. But if they have something better than Batterskull, we're in a tricky situation. Well, okay. So we're going to Thoughtseize them, and then if there's something else we want to take, we can always Tidehollow Sculler. Ooh. Yeah, I think we have to take the Dead of Winter and then Tidehollow Sculler away the Batterskull. We have this Disenchant for this bridge. I just can't let them get back this Dead of Winter. So we'll fetch, grab ourselves a Plains. Then cast Sculler. Then we'll go ahead and take the Batterskull. And pass it back to our opponent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would not like to attack. Alright, there's the Flooded Strand. Alright. We take 2 off the Tidehollow. And we drew Anguish on making, which is pretty good. So here... I think we're going to start by shipping in with the Tidehollow Sculler. Wonder what our opponent's paused for here. Alright, we take 2. And then... I think we have so much to do with our mana, I'm not even set on wanting to Stoneforge. So... But... Yeah, let's just go ahead and Sculler again. This is probably them stone forging in the sword, if I had to take a guess. Interesting, they choose to draw a card first. My opponent accidentally thought that I took the bridge from below. Alright. You got a bridge and a Mox Opal. You can have a Mox Opal opponent. And pass it on back. Alright. So here we're kind of letting our card advantage take over. Thopter Foundry. Fatal Push to get the bridge back. Okay. Yep, you have a bridge in play. I know your only card in hand is a land. I think we still hold on to this path. Okay. So we're going to start by disenchanting this bridge. Then we'll go to combats and just attack for 2. I still want to keep that card advantage engine going. No point in thought seizing, as we know this island is the only card in their hand. Man, still no lands. Decisions. Let's start by just going to combat. We'll attack for 2. The only issue with this deck right now, it doesn't really have that good of a clock. Go ahead and play Stoneforge. I think we just grab the Batter Skull here. I think end of turn we might just path our own Dark Confidant. Nah. We'll leave Bob in play. Because once we get the Batter Skull, we'll be able to offset the life gain a lot. Don't really want him equipping it, as then we can't really attack through it. We still have Surgical up if we need it. Hey, we finally found another land. Okay. So we can field our opponent, plus activate Stoneforge end of turn. I'm pretty happy with just doing that. Let's go to combat. Get in for 4. And then passing the turn back. Alright, end step. We're going to go ahead and field the hollow. Oh, opponent just gives us that one. That's fair. They knew they seen the writing on the wall. Okay, so do we want to change anything up for game 3? Brutalities do seem a little bit better now that we've seen Stoneforge Mystic. Same with Liliana of the Veil. Just as like removal spells. I think we'll bring in a Brutality for the Surgical. As Surgical typically isn't that good of an answer to their deck anyways. Then I think we'll take out the Zealous for another Brutality. And then is Sword of Fire and Ice better than a Lily of the Veil? I don't actually think so now. Because we'll pretty rarely go for the Sophie off our Stoneforge. And I guess Liliana doesn't really kill Stoneforge Mystic though. But Sword of Fire and Ice can. I kind of like having 2 equipment to search up. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and try it like this now that we know that they're on the Stoneforge build. This is another one-lander, but we're on the draw with double discard spell, but Batterskull's kind of like a mulligan anyways. I think we're going to go ahead and ship this back. Yeah, this hand's a lot better. Inquisition into either Dark Confidant or Thalia. We have Path, backup, keep. And we'll go ahead and put one of these Bobs on the bottom. Assume our opponent will probably play an Astrolabe on turn 1. Decides they did not want the card. Back to us, our opponent draws. And we draw Marsh Flats. I think we're still going to lead on the Godless Shrine and Inquisition them. That does mean we're pretty likely to play Thalia next turn instead of Dark Confidant. As we have our 3rd land now. Alright. Wellspring, Sword of the Meek, Spellbomb. We'll just take the Ichor Wellspring. They have kind of a weak hand, and Wellspring can dig them out of it better than the other cards. There's the Swamp we knew about. And Sword. Okay. So yeah, here, ooh, Concealed Courtyard's a pretty good draw. Here we're going to go ahead and just play Thalia and then pass. Tax our opponent a little bit. Play the Spellbomb for 2 with the black open. Plague Engineer's solid. So we'll start by going to combat. It's pretty unlikely our opponent can combo next turn. So I think I'm fine waiting a turn on the Plague Engineer. And I'd rather just play this Marsh Flats and this Dark Confidant. That way we can start getting some card advantage and I can fetch this Godless Shrine tapped. Yep, go ahead and Spellbomb us, opponent. Opponent fetches. Grabs an island. Okay, they had the Urza. So, we're definitely going to pass that on our turn. And we're just grabbing this Godless Shrine. Alright. Concealed Courtyard. Kind of unfortunate to come after our third land drop, but... Yeah, I think we just have to pass the Urza. Don't really want to let our opponent get much advantage out of that. I would rather have them have a land on their turn than have that Urza in play. We'll play this Concealed Courtyard tapped. And then attack with Thalia since she has first strike. Thalia and Path are kind of a nombo, notably. Astrolabe from our opponent. Okay, there's the Foundry. And I assume our opponent gets in for 4 here. Yep. So we fall to 13. Draw another land off our Dark Confidant and a Batter Skull. Interesting. That might be good in the future. But I think we need to play this Plague Engineer this turn. And name Thopter. Just so our opponent can't really make any dudes. Then we'll go to combat, attack for 4. This Plague Engineer does kind of make our opponent not want to attack, as it does have Death Touch. Opponent goes down to 10. Yep, I was going to say, I assume 9 when they fetch. Still getting basics, though. They do not want to give us any Field of Ruin targets. I think our opponent didn't realize that their sword wouldn't come back there. Ooh. Now, isn't that sad? Our opponent thought seizes us and takes our Batter Skull. And then plays a bridge. Alright. Well, we're in a bit of a top deck battle, but I do have a Dark Confidant, so... Alright, not bad. trying to figure out what we do with this brutality. And this Tide Hollow, for that matter. I think we don't do anything. I think we just play this Field of Ruin. And our opponent might actually be out of basics, so we're going to go ahead and just field right away. We'll grab a Plains. Oh wow, they had another basic. So I think we're going to hold these in case they play a creature we may want to kill, or if they happen to draw something that they can't play. I can't imagine what it would be. Or we just make them war. We may have to use this brutality to kill our Dark Confidant, depending on how long it goes. Okay. So Anguished Unmaking means we can attack on our next turn. But we still can't attack into this construct. Well, we could, actually. Yeah. I think that's the line, actually. What if we actually just play Sword this turn? And then Unmaking and equip Sword? 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. It's kind of risky with our life total. Oh, I can't undo my mana, apparently, because I played a land. That's pretty dumb. Okay. So... I think we're going to just... play Sword here. Because there's nothing in our deck that can kill us. And I feel like attacking with the Sword is probably better. Wait, if we... 1, 2, 3, 4... if we draw a land and they block Thalia... we actually can just win. Okay. So we go land. We're then going to unmake the bridge. And then equip Sword to Thalia. Because they have to block whatever creature we equip this to. Swing. Maybe we were actually supposed to put it on the Dark Confidant for that reason. But I don't think we have any flips that kill us. Oh, I was going to say, oh no, I didn't think about my opponent making Thopters. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, this might have... it might have been a bad play. So this is going to die to this. That might have been a bad attack. Oof, thank God. Let's see if there's anything in our deck that kills us, actually. Okay, there's like nothing in our deck that can kill us. Wow, that was a really lucky top deck. Alright, your opponent, you're at 1. So I think the play then was equip the sword to Plague Engineer. Wow, this game's been wild. Pretty solid showing for the deck, though. The cards all felt really powerful. Pretty sure this is just GG's. Well, our opponent's obviously hoping we die to our Bob flip, but we will not. We cannot, actually. Opponent said GG's, we said it back, and alright. Starting off the league 1-0 with Dead Guy Ale. That was a pretty solid showing for the deck. I really think I like how this deck's configured, actually. At least if that game was any inclination to it. I just I really think the card Dark Confidant is so good. Like, I know everyone's like taking it out of their Jund decks, but like my lists still have 2 Dark Confidants in it, and I think that card is just way better than a lot of the other grindy tools. Like, I prefer Dark Confidant over like Tireless Tracker or even like more copies of Lingering Souls, for example. Alright, we have found an opponent. Wonder why it's not opening up immediately. Hit our opponent with the GLHF. And choose to be on the play with an excellent hand. We got a good 1, 2, 3 of Inquisition and a Bitter Blossom into Liliana. This hand is super hot fire, as they say. Ooh, my opponent mulligans down to 5, too. So these discard spells are going to be brutal. Concealed Courtyard, Inquisition of Kozlok. It's the Concealed Courtyard. Oh, our opponent's on Eldrazi Tron. They have 2 Tron pieces, a Karn, and a Smasher. Okay. We'll take your Chalice and pass it. Their turn 1. Our turn 2. Their turn 2. We may have to Thoughtseize instead of playing this Liliana one turn, depending on what we expect from our opponent. Although I might just play that on turn 3. But we're going to go ahead and play a Bitter Blossom and pass it. I think I actually prefer that. So we're going to go ahead and Thoughtseize here. Okay, they drew a Waste. Thought-Knot, Reality Smasher, Karn. Think we're just going to go ahead and take the TKS. Grab ourselves a basic Plains. And play a Stoneforge. If we draw land, we get to equip the Fire and Ice. If not, it's not a big deal. And I think we're just going to go ahead and grab ourselves a Batterskull. Could see merit to considering the other sword there. Okay, so we know 2 of their 3 cards are Reality Smasher, Karn the Great Creator. Hopefully we draw a land here. Not a land, but that's an answer to either a Karn or a Reality Smasher. So we're just going to go ahead and go to combat. Attack with 1 fairy. Mwahaha. Then depending on what our opponent does, we can either Batter Skull or Sophie here. Probably go ahead and Batter Skull if we don't have to Anguish Unmaking. Oh wow. Opponent drew Tron. That's pretty lucky for them. So they get to play Karn, and then they have 4 mana to tutor something up, I assume. We'll see what they grab. They grab Bridge. So Bridge is going to be our Anguished Unmaking target. So we're going to go ahead and activate Stoneforge, put in Batter Skull here. Untap, make a fairy. Drew Tide Hollow Sculler. So we unfortunately aren't going to be able to do anything about the Reality Smasher coming down, but we get to kill that, and then we get to for our opponent and kill Karn. Bam. 15 all now. Not to be for long, I assume. Blast Zone. There's the Smasher. Opponent chooses not to attack. We'll make a fairy. Ooh, good land draw. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get this sword into play. Want to conserve some life here. Activate Stoneforge. Maybe our opponent's last card is like Dismember. That'd be pretty unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and try to equip Sophie here. Yep, looks like it's Dismember. Oh, they're just putting a counter on it so that way they can blow up Bitter Blossom Stoneforge. Makes sense. And we'll attack with all. We'll 2U opponent and draw a card. And back to you. This game really shows the power of Stoneforge Mystic. Also the reasoning why I chose to play Anguished Unmaking. I've thought about playing this land in Eldrazi-tron, actually. I feel like it's a worse Seagate Wreckage, personally. Opponent draws a card. Is it something that keeps them in this game? It is not, so they scoop it up. Alright, going on to the sideboard against Eldrazi-tron. So, against them, Gideon's a debate. Lingering Souls and Plague Engineer don't seem very powerful here. Liliana the Last Hope does not either. Campbell doesn't seem very good. Kaya's actually an answer to Chalice of the Void, which I like. Disenchant seems good against them. Thalia, I like more on the... I don't actually think I like Thalia against them. Bobs seem good. Scullers seem good. Zealous as a combat trick might be fine. We'll have to see. I like all of our removal. The Surgicals are interesting, as they can tag Tron, but their deck isn't super all about Tron. And I think we want to trim down on our 1-drops. We already have 12 still, and I really don't want to take any of these out. And then we have one more cut we have to make. I could see it being a Bitter Blossom. I think we want all of our swords for grinding. I could see it being this Gideon. think it's the Bitter Blossom, though. What do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts on this sideboard plan against Eldrazi Tron? Surgicals are like a consideration, but again, they're not all in Tron like actual Tron. So like taking them off Tron isn't necessarily going to win us the game. Gideon can make a good stream of blockers that doesn't cost us life. And 2/2s are more relevant than 1/1s. Plus Gideon himself is relevant, and the Anthem effect could be. I'm really in on the Liliana, the Veils, the Anguish and Makings, the Kayas. Really all of our 2-drops. Yeah. I think we're going to go ahead and try this. I could potentially see wanting the Bitter Blossom over like the Gideon, though. Another card I've seen some lists play is a Kalitas somewhere in the 75. I could potentially see playing a Kalitas somewhere. And yeah, this hand is totally reasonable. Plenty of 2-drops, a sword if we need it, Thoughtseize. Yep, you got your map, opponent. We're just going to go ahead and lead Swamp Thoughtseize. So, Smasher or Dismember? I think it's just the Smasher. Dismember doesn't super matter to our hand. We can actually Tide Hollow it away. They did have the Temple already. Ooh. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to... We don't need all of our basics in our deck. So I feel pretty safe just fetching up Plains here and conserving some life. Then casting this Tide Hollow Sculler. We either get the Dismember or they get to cast it here. Which is fine. If they drew something else, we get to take it still. Nope, just a land, so. We know that they just have a bunch of lands at this point. And we can go ahead and stick our Stoneforge Mystic pretty comfortably next turn. Matter Shaper is the draw for the turn. And we drew a Path, which works really well against Matter Shaper. So if we go Dark Confidant, Path, end of turn... No. We can't do what we want. We're just going to go Stoneforge Mystic. Fetch us up a Batter Skull. And then pass it to the opponent. Ooh, a Hangerback Walker. I remember when I used to play that card. I love that card. So I think we're actually more worried about the Hangerback than the Matter Shaper. So I think we're cool just taking 3 here. We'll fall to 14. And we'll just get a... If we shock, I could put in Dark Confidants. If we shock Path here, we go to 11. I think it's worth the risk. Because I'd really like to get to double or play 2 things if possible. If not, it's not like the end of the world. Of course, we draw the land that comes into play tapped. So we'll pass it back to our opponent. Is this a Worm Coil, I assume? Ballista for 3. Well, that stinks. and we're going to put in this Batter Skull here. Go ahead and get the Jeremy Boy. Ooh. So I think we're just going to go ahead and put this Light and Shadow into play immediately. Then just equip it to the Batter Skull and attack. If my opponent wants to trade both of their creatures for it, I'm fine with that. If not, we gain 3 life and get back our Tide Hollow Sculler, which is just another good body. Okay. I'm fine with a chump, too. Power plant goes to the battlefield for them. So that means they're going to definitely fetch up a tower with this map. Yep. Oh, wow. They drew another Ballista. That's pretty unfortunate for us. Okay. So that'll cleanly answer the other Ballista. So we'll go ahead and attack for 6. I assume we're just going to see this ping down. So we're actually going to just go ahead and disenchant this one. Because we get to just go ahead and play Dark Confidant this turn. Get in there, Roberto. Alright, opponent drew another land. Thoughtseize Inquisition, not quite what we're looking for here. So I think we're going to suit up this Bob with a Light and Shadow. Get in for 4. Get back our Stoneforge Mystic. And then... We'll go ahead and play another Dark Confidant. Uh-oh. Oh, that's fine. We got answers to that. So we'll go land. Do we actually want to... So... I kind of want to kill this Ugin. Okay. We are going to... -2/-2. Drain and gain. Discarding this Inquisition of Kozilek. Then we Thoughtseize our opponent. Take the Thought-Knot Seer. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have lethal in play. Let's go ahead and play another Dark Confidant here. So we're going to kill the Ugin. And then we have Lethal with the Batterskull in play. So our opponent has the top deck. Alright. And we're on to 2-0. The deck's feeling actually really solid. Yeah, this is a this is feeling like a really powerful way to play your black discard-based mid-range decks. I think getting to play 4 Field of Ruin is really powerful. It was kind of the... Oh, thank you, Juice. I super appreciate it. It was kind of the draw to playing Green-Black Rock a while ago. We're going to keep this. We don't have a 1-drop, but I think that's fine. We have a lot of impactful 2s in our hand. Interesting. But, like, that was the draw to Green-Black Rock a while ago. Except I feel like this deck actually has better win conditions than Green-Black Rock. Like, this deck kills your opponent. Green-Black Rock would sometimes just dirtle. So, probably a Devoted Druid deck, if I had to take a guess. Which means we're probably dead because we didn't have turn 1 interaction. We do get to use the whole... Oh, why didn't I fetch? Because I forgot I played a fetch land for some reason. Huh. Oh, well, not a big deal. Our life total doesn't super matter here. We just kind of look dumb is all. But hey, I look dumb on a regular basis. Are we going to whole Buffalo this? Or are we just going to 2-mode this? I think we're actually going to 2-mode this. We really want to keep some cards in our hand. I want to make sure I chose this right, because it chose different things this time. Alright, what are we discarding? Probably this Bitter Blossom. Bitter Blossom doesn't seem very good in this matchup. Brutality's great in this match. Oh, okay. So they don't have the combo. That's good to know. Birds, Duskwatch, Eternal Witness. Alright, back to you, opponent. So we'll probably see, like, the Eternal Witness pick up the Giver if I had to take a guess. Oh, they drew Stoneforge. Stoneforge is interesting because it can tutor for a win condition with the combo that doesn't care. Uh-oh. Light and Shadow is real good against us. Then play the bird out, I assume. Yep. So how do we want to do this? I think we're going to Shambling Vents tapped, Tide Hollow Sculler to take that sword that we can never beat, and then plan to Dark Confidant Brutality next turn. Sounds like a plan. You can have an Eternal Witness in hand, opponent. We'll probably go like Field Brutality for probably Draining Gain and kill something. I'm not sure what we kill though. I think we probably kill the Duskwatch Recruiter. But the Giver could be a problem in the future. I think this is a bigger problem in the future, if I'm being honest. Then we'll put this concealed courtyard to good use. Then we'll play Dark Confidant to hopefully start digging us out. Play Dark Confidant, I said. Our opponent's probably going to crack their Horizon Canopy end of turn, if I had to take a guess. Light and Shadow seems really good in their deck. They actually play a lot more equipment than most. They typically play like a Batter Skull, 1 to 2 swords, a Lightning Greaves, and the thing that lets them ping or tap a creature to deal 1 damage. They'll normally play any combination of like 4 to all 5 of those. This is actually a deck I've thought about playing on stream later on. Oh, did not realize it was me this time. So yeah, as I mentioned, I'm going to be giving away those Commander decks today. I'm going to whisper after I announce the winner at the end of the stream. Opponent thinking about the card they drew. We are at 18 to their 10, but life totals are typically irrelevant in this matchup. I won't say always. One thing I don't have in the sideboard that I could have seen potentially wanting to have made room for is actually a like damnation effect. Just some type of board wipe. I guess in this deck you could actually just play Wrath of God. Depends on, I think our mana leans black, so we'd probably actually play Damnation. Okay, you have a Birds. And another Devoted Druid opponent. They don't attack. We trigger Dark Confidant, we get a Lily of the Veil. That's a solid one. So we're going to play a land for turn 1, 2. We can actually field them first. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Field of Ruin our opponent's breeding pool. Grab ourselves a swamp. Then we're going to fetch up another swamp. And cast Lily of the Veil. So our opponent only actually has like 1 creature that can realistically attack. So I think we're actually going to just take this up since I don't care about this land. And I'd rather just get this Liliana to a point where she can maybe ultimate. Another Giver of Runes, alright. So if our opponent wants in 2 attacks, they can pro black, or it'd be 3 attacks. No, 2, because they can do the Stoneforge next turn. They could kill our Liliana. But if they attack Lily here, I'm just minusing her, I think. Unless we get an option to block. Is that true? We can't really block with the Tide Hollow, and I think I value cards more than Liliana right now. Okay. So We're definitely making them sack here. They'll probably just sack like a Birds of Paradise. Or potentially Devoted Druid. They might want the birds for blue mana. And then we're actually going to run back the same play, I think, where we play Liliana and then plus since I don't really care about this Inquisition of Kozilek, and I think it can get our opponent to attack again. Alright, go ahead, opponent. If they want to use both their givers and creatures that can attack on Liliana, that's fine, because then I can start getting in damage. Okay. Interesting. So they just don't want to give me the option to block. We actually can't really attack until we get rid of a giver here. Well, yeah, because we won't gain any life, unfortunately. So I think we are... Hey, what's up, Devin and Celestine? How's it going? I think we're just going to make them sack a creature here. Well, no, let's plus, actually. Because if they use both givers, that gives us an... If they use a giver, that gives us the option of... Eventually, getting to kill givers. Okay. They have a Batterskull. I think the Devoted Druid deck really benefited from the Stoneforge unban. I actually think the card's insane in this deck. One, two, three, four. So they can't equip Batterskull if they want. They cannot. Yeah, I mean, this game's slowly slipping away from us. Love you too, man. Okay, our own Stoneforge isn't bad. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're not in the best of spots here. Maybe I should have just made him sack last turn. But it seemed pretty irrelevant. Alright, so we're going to Stoneforge for our own Batterskull here. Only problem is their Batterskull gets protection. We're actually dead if they play this turn, right? Because if they equip Batterskull to Eternal Witness, give it... I guess they can't give it... 2 pro colors. Well, they can, but they have to do it with, they can't do it and attack with another creature. So they're going to make us block with Dark Confidant then? Or they're debating if it's correct to use the Eternal Witness. I mean, we definitely have to block. Okay. So we'll play Tide Hollow. It's pretty good. Activate Stoneforge, putting in Batterskull. Then plus Liliana. And pass it back to them. So now we die if they equip the birds with... Oh, or if they have that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, tough game. I think this matchup's probably okay for us. I think we're a little worse than the others because we do other mid-range decks because we do play a little less removal. Well, I don't actually know that that's true. I think we play less removal game 1. So what are we not interested in against them? Don't think we really want Lingering Souls. Plague Engineer seems pretty good. Campbell doesn't seem very good. Kaya seems okay. I think we want all of our discard. Bitter Blossom doesn't really seem like where we want to be. Neither does Thalia. Disenchant's actually fine since they're a Stoneforge deck now. I think Surgical Extraction is probably just too cute for against them. And we have 3 more cuts. What do you think, chat? What do you think the other 3 cuts are? Maybe it's like Light and Shadow. Or Batterskull. Like, I know we got Batterskull there, but I don't typically see us wanting to get Batterskull. I feel like we pretty commonly want the swords, but I just don't feel like you ever trim Batterskull. I could almost see this just being a match where we want to trim a Stoneforge in general. Man, this is tough. A lot of our cards seem fine. Maybe Kaya just doesn't do enough. She only exiles Mana Dorks. Yeah, I could see her just not doing enough. And it's like either Batterskull or Light and Shadow. Or we could trim a land. We can probably trim the Shambling Vents, actually. Yeah, I think I like trimming the Shambling Vents. I just really don't want a land that comes into play tapped. Not 100% sure if that's correct, but that's what we're going to go with. Okay. This hand, not great. Again, it doesn't have a 1-drop, but it plays. So we'll go ahead and keep. We can always Brutality down their 1-drop. Or we can Tide Hollow Sculler their turn 2 play. It's potential that we maybe are supposed to just mulligan to discard, as their deck is kind of fragile. But Stoneforge did give them a pretty decent backup plan now. Stoneforge and Ranger Captain, for that matter. Both are cards that get combo pieces, but also do a lot more for your backup plan. Opponent must have a tough hand to decide here. I think for us, we're just going to lead Verdant Catacombs and then actually remember to fetch our Godless Shrine instead of just F6ing through their turn. Maybe opponent's pulling up the stream, wanting to come say hi. If you're here, L3D91, hello. Stream sniping is, well, it's something you can do. But if you did happen to stream snipe, do me a favor and at least give us a follow, maybe a subscribe if you don't mind. Alright, and our opponent's back, so we're going to go Verdant Pass. Our opponent goes Horizon Canopy Birds. So, end of turn, we're going to go ahead and grab that Godless Shrine like I talked about. And I think, well, that might change things. Nah, I don't think attacking their mana is the way we win this game. I think attacking the cards that actually matter is how we win. What do they got? They got Veil of Summer, Path, Giver, Finale, Deputy, Eternal Witness. It's a pretty good hand. So they don't have the land for Deputy. I think it's probably just the Veil of Summer, and if they Path, we can work through everything else. Or it's the Path. No, I think it's the Veil of Summer. That's just the card that's the most annoying because we're probably brutalitying. Our opponent drew a land. They still chose the Giver. So back on us, we drew a Concealed Courtyard, which is pretty good. And then I think we're just going to go ahead and cast this Brutality. -2/-2, look at your hand, I think. Let's kill Giver. Then we can probably discard one of these Dark Confidants. I think we still want our 4th land. I guess that was a fair thing to expect, so it would have maybe been correct to have just discarded the land. Because we don't really want a 5th land. Yeah, and we actually just got blown out by the heads up by the open play, now that I'm thinking about it. So that was really, really bad on my end, and I apologize. I was for some reason just like, oh yeah, we're safe. Nope, was not safe at all, actually. Was quite the opposite. So if we lose this 0-2, I apologize. There's probably a way to play that better and not get blown out so hard. We're going to get this Giver out of the battlefield right away. Okay. We can field their Horizon Canopy, which always feels good. We'll just grab a Swamp. But I know they have a Veil in hand. Then we'll play Dark Confidant and pass. So we're not in a great spot. Our opponent's probably going to just deputy our Dark Confidant here. Yep. So we need to start top decking here. Definitely not regretting trimming a land at this point. Take 2. Okay. Path is solid. We'll play our land and pass. They drew Aldamri's Call. So I know Finale, Shalai. Ugh. Gosh, opponent. You're finding everything. So I think they're going to go ahead and cast this. Then we need to path this deputy because we need our Dark Confidant if we want to try to win this game, I think. Okay, no more basics. That's good to know. So opponent's going to crash in for 2. We're going to go ahead and grab this Godless Shrine. And back to us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stoneforge is pretty good. Think we probably get Light and Shadow here. Then suit up our Bob. Yeah, I like that. Go ahead and fetch us up a Plains here. And cast Light and Shadow. And equip Light and Shadow to one said Dank Confidant. And then go to combat. Our opponent probably chumps with Bird, which is fine. Yep. Aldamri's Call. That means we're probably going to get... Oh, okay. Man, that's super unfortunate for us. Our opponents just had everything in the toolbox. Down to 8. Get us something good, Bob. That's not bad. Start with the Tide Hollow. What? Oh, my opponent has Hexproof. Well, good thing we didn't cast this Thoughtseize. That would have been pretty awkward. Yep, that means they have infinite. Yeah, that means we're dead next turn. So we're gonna need some pretty good flips, Bob. Something that can kill a Shalai, please. Nope. Unfortunate. I think this is that's a pretty good matchup for us. Maybe with the Stoneforge package, it's actually not anymore. They kind of were able to just grind us out. Again, that's a deck I really want to give a try to at some point on stream. I have quite a few decks I want to give a try to. I want to try this Vanifar Pod deck that plays like Giver Stoneforge in it. I want to try that deck. I want to try the new Green-White Eldrazi deck. I would eventually like to stream Tron again for you guys, because I did update my Tron list now that Hogak's gone. And I would definitely like to mulligan this hand. This one's fine. We'll put back this Batter Skull. That's just prime. Thank you for saying good luck to us as well. Basic mountain means we're probably against, yep, burn. Could I get that Batter Skull back? So here we're gonna just fetch a basic swamp and Thoughtseize. It's the same amount of damage, but it could potentially be more if we hit like a Boros Charm or... Okay, so they just got burn in hand. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm not big on this keep by our opponent. So, if we take the Lava Spike, they can double spell. If we take a Skewer, they can double spell. So any way you look at it, they can double spell. We'll take the Helix as it's just the most powerful of the burn spells. Hopefully we'll find like a Stoneforge Mystic here. That'd be the best draw off the top, is like Stoneforge. It's possible we were just supposed to god this shrine, but... I don't think I can realistically play Dark Confidant at 5. As bad as it feels. I think we'll probably just discard it to a Liliana next turn. How is that a pun? What do you mean they can't? They had the Rift Bolt on suspend. So if we take the Lava Spike, they just get to skewer us off the Rift Bolt. Nah, you're good, man. Well, you're a little late there, Stoneforge. Would have really liked you the turn before. So I think here... I think we just have to Liliana away this Eidolon and hope we don't die. Hopefully they don't draw a burn spell for like 3 turns. Yeah, I think our hand lined up pretty... Our hand was pretty bad against burn, if I'm being honest. But, like, I think against pretty much anything else, it's pretty good. So are they just slow rolling us, or do we actually have a turn? I guess it is, like, a realistic possibility they just have, like, 2 2-mana burn spells and a 1-mana burn spell. Well, we'll discard this Dark Confidant. They discard a Boros. Yeah, so we're dead. This actually gets a spell out of their hand. So this gives us a chance. ahead, opponent. I assume we're getting Boros Charmed again. Yep. Thing I've learned about Burn from my good friend Gavin Kokenauer, they always have the Boros Charm. Okay. That doesn't kill us. Make you sack it. Play Stoneforge Mystic. I actually think we're not supposed to get Batterskull here. I think we're supposed to get the Light and Shadow. That way we can equip it immediately. And we can gain life right away. Then we'll flash back a Lingering Souls. And hope we don't die. Give us hope, opponent. Give us hope or slow roll. I can't tell which it is. Could honestly be... Oh! So you're saying there's a chance. Alrighty. Alright, Light and Shadow, time for you to do your job. We're not going to attack with his spirit in case they draw a creature. Get back Tide Hollow, Sculler. Go ahead, opponent. I'm at 4. Don't break my heart with a Boros Charm. Goblin God ain't Boros Charm, chat. Are we doing it? That's a brutality on top. Chat, I think we're doing it. We did it! Woo! Did not think we were beating Burn that game. Holy crap, we had to stay alive for like 100 turns. Oh. Told my opponent GG that I was sweating from that one. All right, we definitely don't want this Gideon or this Anguish Unmakings. Campbell seems really good here. I actually like Disenchant as an answer to Eidolon. Get Bitter Blossom out of here. Get these Dark Confidants out of here. I don't actually hate Thoughtseize against Burn, oddly enough. But I think... Alright, what are our last... Souls is a good discard and can trade. Thoughtseize can potentially save us life. I think I'd actually rather have Thoughtseize. So I think we'll leave in 2 Thoughtseizes probably. I actually don't think Zealous does anything against them. I think I'd rather have Thoughtseize than Zealous. Batterskull destroys Burn, but Batterskull would have lost us that game probably. Or Batterskull had more likely of a chance to lose us that game. The Light and Shadows seems really good, honestly. Yeah, like everybody thinks Thoughtseize is like the first card you cut against Burn. It actually, like, that's something Gavin taught me when he was playing Jund. The way you think about Thoughtseize is you think of it as like a 1-mana gain 1 to 2 life, which is better than a lot of other cards in your deck. So yeah, I think this is probably where we're gonna be. Although I could see not wanting this Lily and wanting a Souls instead. I actually think we're going to make that change really quick. No, Lily actually gets back Stoneforge. So we're going to play Lily. Give my opponent a little bit of good luck. It was too late for the Skull that game. So one of my favorite Batter Skull moments is during Eldrazi Winter. Celestine in chat and my friend Gavin Kokenauer were actually both playing Blue Moon. And at an FNM, my friend Gavin equipped a Batter Skull to a Keranos because he had it animated with like a Pia and Kiran Nalar, a Blood Moon, and something else. I think it might have been like I think it was like it was some other creature, I think. But he literally had the Batter Skull on the Keranos. So every turn, Keranos' trigger was just a lightning helix. It was the coolest thing ever. Anyways, back to our hand, though. This hand is not the coolest thing ever. I think we can hope for a better hand. Like this. We get to put the Batter Skull back into our deck. We get to go turn 1 Inquisition or Paths off a land that doesn't do us damage, and Kaya can hopefully eventually start gaining us a little bit of life. Sunbaked from our opponent into Goblin Guide. Will it draw us a land? It will. Best Guide. I'm gonna go ahead and lead on this Inquisition. So double smash, Riftbolt, Lava Spike, Eidolon. I think Eidolon is going to be the most damage. Well, they don't actually have another land. How safe are... Well, we're probably pathing this guide next turn. So we're going to give him the second land. I think we're going to take the Eidolon. Just as it's like the most powerful card, and Kaya can gain us a little bit of life that way. Okay, not casting this Path to Exile. Riftbolt suspended. And we're going to go Plains into Stoneforge Mystic. Feels good, man, clap. Why, yes, I would like to retrieve a Batter Skull. Your move, opponent. Reason I grabbed the Batter Skull here is I know the Stoneforge is going to die, but the Batter Skull is just the... We don't have another creature, so we can actually just use it to gain life on turn 5. Because next turn we play Kaya. Oh, maybe we can't play Kaya now. Man, I love this Goblin Guide. No, I think we can still play Kaya. So... we're going to go ahead and Plains, play Kaya here, and just eat the 2 cards in their graveyard. Because this makes them want to kill our Kaya, which Kaya will essentially have gained us 6 life here. I actually think Kaya was supposed to kill one of their creatures, now that I'm thinking about it. I think that was probably the better play. Now I assume Guide and Swift Spear go at Kaya. Yep. Ooh. Alrighty, opponent. We're gonna be very rude here. Brutality, all 3 modes. Killing Swifty. Discarding these 2. So they drew Bolt and they still have double Smash in hand. We kind of just have to hope they don't hit a land. So I think we're going to just go ahead and take this Lightning Bolt here. And then pass it back to them. So we're actually gonna... Man, this guy's been insane. It's the most lands I've ever drawn off a Goblin Guide. Okay. So... now we just kind of hope they don't draw it. Go, go, Batterskull. Oh. Sorry, trying to catch up on chat now. Alright, that was the draw we really didn't want him to get. Jesus! We're gonna have no lands in our deck! How are we still drawing lands? I don't understand. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the Sunbaked Canyon right now. Yeah, we have 1 fetchable land left in our deck. That's crazy. Yeah, they drew the land, and it might actually win them this game, honestly. I think we have to path the Goblin Guide. I just don't really want to take 2 damage off this. Okay. Yeah, we still have a Godless Shrine in our deck. Although, actually, I don't want to fetch now that I'm thinking about it. So that was actually a pretty bad play. Declare no blocks. Path the Eidolon. We're probably, like, really dead at this point. My thought was we were probably not winning through one smash, let alone two. So that's why I took another card. Told my opponent GG's. They never didn't have it. They had it the whole time. One thing I'm worried about is, do we have enough creatures in our deck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, we have 12. We only have one more typically post board. But we have the Lingering Souls post board. Or pre-board. So we have like 15 creatures typically. Maybe we do. Oh wait, we have the Campbells. Never mind. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're only one creature less than what we typically have in the main, which I think is fine for sideboard. I think I want to just run this back. I think this feels pretty good. Campbell would have been great late game. What do you guys think, chat? Do you think we just run this 75 back again? See you later, Sully. Good luck in League. Think we just kind of hope our opponent doesn't have a million smashes again. Hopefully we draw some discard, maybe. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and run this back. Would love to play first. Man. I don't like keeping one-landers with this deck. Even with Inquisition on one, I think we're going to mulligan it. Sand's fine. If they play a creature, we can fetch Shock Path it. Our opponent mulligans to 6. We're going to keep our 6. Oh no, I mulliganed to 6. Oh wait, no, my opponent did too. I think the card we want the least in this hand is Plague Engineer. I think it just does the least. Okay, so yep, we're going to go Verdant Pass here. Then we can either go Tide Hollow or Thalia, depending on what we feel is better. All that typing was my opponent mentioned that like Guy drew me so many lands, but I got way too flooded at the end. And I told him that it happens, but how I was going to feel kind of bad if they didn't draw their second land. But they drew it right on time. So since we have a guaranteed 2-drop we want to play, I think as much as I hate taking 3 here, I think I just don't want to let them keep their Swift Spear around. And I think we're going to go ahead and play a Thalia this turn. Yeah. Go ahead and play Thalia. It's pretty likely to draw out a removal spell from them. Another Sunbaked for land for turn. And an Eidolon. Then they suspend a Rift Bolt. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do... I just want to tax their resources. So we're going to go ahead and just play the Tide Hollow right now. It means if they want their spell back, one, they already have to pay 1 for it. They have to take 2 off the Eidolon, and then they have to put it at the Scholar. Bolt, Spike, Boros Charm, you say. So we have to take the Bolt, because, and if they want to kill our creatures, they have to use all of their mana. And we're not going to attack, because I'd rather get them, I'd rather just like basically gain 6 life here. And then I can Liliana minus next turn. If they decide they just want to kill the Thalia, then I'll probably go ahead and block if they attack. If not, either way, I'll just play Liliana next turn. Yep, that's kind of the play I figured that would happen. Then they'll bolt the Thalia and a get in for 2. So, it's pretty even so far. Oh, I'm ahead by 2 life actually because of that. I didn't think about them having to tap both lands. Or wait, no, yeah, we're gonna be even. Alrighty. Liliana. We have to take 2 here. Then we'll go ahead and minus Lily, getting rid of that Eidolon. Because otherwise they could just Boros Charm her. I don't particularly feel like dealing with a Eidolon for the whole game. Interesting. They cracked Sunbake. Oh, that makes sense. Are they going to kill the Eidolon or just try to kill me? That is the question. If they don't go after Lily, we're discarding 2 cards. Yeah. I just got to try to tax their resources here. They definitely don't have a creature. They would have played it and attacked Lily, I think. Liliana's always been pretty good against burn. Just because it makes them have to discard their spells. Alright, Lily number 2, the Electric Boogaloo. We'll choose to keep this one and we'll tick her up again. Then we'll F6. So they have Boros Charm Unknown in hand. Do they choose the Boros Charm us or Liliana here? They choose to go after us, okay. Means they're going to just try to burn us out. Did they draw it? Looks like they did. Told my opponent, GG. Boros Charms always come in pairs. So, after starting out 2-0, we're currently 2-2. Plan to hopefully win our money back on stream. This deck's interesting. It doesn't It has a lot of card advantage built in naturally through like Dark Confidant and Lingering Souls, but you don't have access to Tarmogoyf, which means your clock is inherently slower. Like Stoneforge is a fine clock on its own, but it doesn't pressure like Tarmogoyf would in like a deck like Abzan. And you also don't get access to like Assassin's Trophy, but you get Anguished Unmaking, but your health is kind of pressured. So I think the biggest problem with this deck is if you don't draw Stoneforge, your deck feels pretty worse compared to the other black mid-range decks. But when you have Stoneforge, it feels as powerful, if not more, because you do have a lot more card advantage in like the 4 Dark Confidants still, and you know, the Lingering Souls. I think this hand's fine. We get to go turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 tap land. Looks like we're facing either Grixis Shadow or Urza. Looks like Grixis Shadow. Opponent's going down. He's yelling timber. So you know you gotta move. And you also gotta dance. Alright, we're going to go ahead and Thoughtseize our opponent here. Plague Engineer, not great in this matchup. Oh, they're Traverse. Interesting. So they have a Thoughtseize of their own, which I don't really care about. A Trophy that I don't really care about. A Morphos, a Traverse, which I think is what I care the most about here. It's either the Traverse or the Gore Clan. And they can get the Traverse online with like Manamorphose, Thoughtseize, Traverse. So I think that means we take the Traverse here. And then pass it off to them. Manamorphose interesting in our opponent's list. I haven't seen that out of Jund Death Shadow. Seems like another free spell, so your deck's just like even smaller technically. The Gore Clan I've seen quite a bit, but I know fell out of favor for a while. So interesting to see our opponent bring that back. Morphos into double black. Casting Thoughtseize. I assume we lose a Lily here. I don't think our opponent really cares that much about Plague Engineer. Yep, and I would be correct. And then back to, ooh. Tidehollow Sculler was a great draw off the top here. So we're going to go ahead and just grab ourselves a Swamp and then cast it. Goyf was a good draw by them too, though. Okay, I think we're going to take the Trophy, because then they have to Tarmogoyf into it, and we have Liliana for that. Yeah. But if we take the Goyf or Gore Clan, they have to Trophy it. Well, we take the Goyf. Then they have to Trophy the Tidehollow, but that doesn't really get us anywhere. So yeah, I think we're just going to take the Trophy here. And then pass it on back. If they play Goyf, we Lily minus. If they do anything else, we can Plague Engineer and name something. Yep, I assumed we'd see Goyf here. Stoneforge is a solid draw. That'll be a good play for next turn. We're just going to grab a Plains. We want to conserve our life total. Then we'll minus Liliana, target you, opponent. And I think we just want to try to kill him. We're already pretty soft to them having a death if they ever draw a Death Shadow. Another Goyf is pretty good. So I think we're going to start by plussing, and we're going to discard one of these Stoneforges. They discard the Gore Clan. So then we're going to play this tapped and play Plague Engineer. What are the likely X ones in their deck? Maybe like Wild Nicottle. Let's use the internet here. Looks like the most likely one is probably Lingering Souls out of the sideboard. So we're going to go ahead and name Spirit Token. And then pass to our opponent. Another Manamorphose from our opponent. So yeah, it looks like they're just trying to have as small of a deck as possible, technically. With like the Street Race, the Baubles, the Manamorphoses. And also just fuel their traverses as fast as they can. Oh wow. Our opponent just concedes to us. Alright, so going on to sideboard, we really want to get our grind on here. I'm not sure about Plague Engineer, but having Death Touch might actually make it good enough. Campbell seems alright against them. Kaya seems great. Zealous doesn't seem very good. Tidehollow's like hit or miss. They are light on removal. Brutality seems pretty bad against them. Thalia seems okay. Disenchant doesn't seem very good. Surgical doesn't seem very good. I'm typically not a big discard fan in these matchups. Like, I typically like just having better cards. But I think, like, pure discard is probably better than Tidehollow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And we're actually at, like, 18 creatures still, so that's good. I think we want all of our equipments here. Campbell seems kind of slow. I could also just see, like, taking out the Thought Seizes. Because the only things they have to hit are the Gore Clan is the one of Gore Clan. And I think we have plenty of ways to deal with that. I think I like this. I think I prefer Inquisition over Tidehollow for the mana and the fact that they won't get the spell back. I think Brutality just doesn't do enough. Yeah. I think this is what we're going to go with. Try to get our grind on. Yeah, this hand's great. We have potential for a 1, 2, 3 curve here. We have a really solid removal spell in Anguish on making. Yep. Our opponent also left in their Inquisitions, so that's good to know. chooses to take Fatal Push. Okay. So I think because of that, we're actually going to just lead on Godless Shrine, tapped and pass. Now we have the choice between Thalia or Stoneforge on 2. Our opponent goes Goyf. I think we're going to just... That was a noise. I think we're going to Stoneforge because we probably want to cast a removal spell on 3. And I think we grab... Probably just Batterskull. Batterskull is bigger than Goyf right now, but probably won't be by the time we cast it. Thoughtseize from our opponent. Pretty unfortunate. Means we probably lose this Anguished Unmaking here. Although that means they can't actually attack with Goyf next turn now. So we're going to just go ahead and pass with the intentions of putting in Batterskull and hopefully not getting Kolaghan's commanded. So I smell either a removal spell or a Kolaghan's command here, but I think we have to just play into it. Kolaghan's command is a card that stock has rised quite a bit with Stoneforge getting unbanned. Looks like our opponent might be reconsidering. Or maybe they chose the wrong mode on accident. I think it's probably Shatter Kill because that grows the Goyf to a 5/6. If it is in fact Kolaghan's command. Yeah. So we're just going to grab a Godless Shrine here. Not shocked, take our 5. Take our lumps, as the kids say. Then... we're going to Liliana... and just roll her down to get back Stoneforge Mystic. And pass it back. That did shrink the Goyf too. I assume Goyf is killing Lily. Yep. And a Plague Engineer from our opponent. Probably names Human or Soldier here, so that way we can't play the Thalia. Yep. We're going to go ahead and grab a Swamp. Well, it's not going to do a whole lot against this Plague Engineer, unfortunately. I would like to search. I think we get the Light and Shadow and we play it. Because then it says, like, okay, are you going to attack with your Tarmogoyf or leave it up to block? Oh. Or they just have another removal spell. We're looking at taking like 8 here. Yep, you can go ahead and take one of our Thalia's opponent. They weren't doing much anyways. Yep, and we died. Going to a game 3 to decide if we prize or not. Against Jund Death Shadow, do I want to change anything on the play? Seeing Plague Engineer kind of makes me want Brutality. But, like, over what? That's kind of the thing. I think just, like, all of our cards in the main are better than anything we could bring in. Like, Brutality is the only potential option, and what would we cut for it? Maybe, like, Lily for one. But Lily's really good at grinding. Maybe Campbell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That does still leave us with like 15 creatures if we cut Campbell. I don't hate that, and we can try to hit like we can always hit with Brutality for the most part. I think Thalia slows our opponent down enough that we don't want to cut it. Yeah. I think this is a worthwhile change. I could see this being wrong and wanting Campbell's over something else, or maybe just wanting Campbell's over the Brutalities, but being able to kill Plague Engineer I think is kind of important. So the fact that it's just like an extra removal spell for that, and it also can just like make our opponent discard a card from time to time, I think it's okay. I don't think it's great. Like I said before, I don't like discard in this matchup that much. So I thought Seizes in the sideboard. But I think Brutality will work. Okay. Sand's fine. We don't have a one mana play other than putting this land in play tapped. But we have a good curve for everything else, and we don't actually have a lot of proactive 1-drops anyways, because we boarded out Thoughtseize, we only have Inquisition. Our opponent's bobbling away. Do they have the discard spell? They do. So we probably lose our Thalia here if I had to take a guess. And the question is, do we Brutality on 2 to look at their hand? I don't think so. Oh, interesting. They take Liliana. Oh, wait. That was my bad. I wanted to F6 through both bauble triggers. That way I didn't have to click twice. And I F6 through, like, F6 obviously just skips my whole turn. So they wouldn't have been able to play this Renin 6 on 2. And we wouldn't be behind a land drop. Wow, that actually probably just lost us this game, like, on its own. That's how bad that play just was. Wow, I can't believe I did that. Be careful with your F6s, kids. That's the lesson for today. Yep. Yep. Okay. So we probably weren't winning this game anyways. That's so frustrating still. Go. So we get to take 12 here. Oh, we're just dead. Cool. Yeah, so the bright side, I don't think F6ing through a turn really mattered there. It's still really frustrating, obviously, but, you know what happens. Thoughts on the deck? I think the deck's actually pretty decent. I'm not 100% sure if it's better than Abzan or not, as I think having access to cards like Tarmogoyf is really good in these decks. And also just like getting a little less painful things like other than Anguish and Making, getting to play like trophies, for example. Trophy also works super well with Path, but you don't get to play 4 Field of Ruin then, and you probably don't play 4 Dark Confidant, so there's pluses and negatives to both. If I were to play this deck again, I don't really know what I would change. I think this deck was fine. I think our losing to Devoted Druid was pretty unfortunate, but I think that's just going to happen sometimes. Like, sometimes they'll just have you. Losing to... what did we lose to in the 4th round? In the 4th round, we lost to Burn. Yes, Burn. And I think Burn is an okay matchup. I don't think it's great. We never really drew Campbell against them. And they kind of just like had actual removal spells in their hand for Thalia and Tide Hollow, which was awkward. Adding green also gives you Scavenging Ooze, which is notable. So yeah, maybe green just... Maybe going green for Abzan actually fixes a lot of this deck's issues. The more I'm thinking about it, at least the issues I've seen in this league. You know, Trophy's still really good against Tron. And then I don't know how much green would have fixed against Death Shadow. Death Shadow is typically favored in these mid-range matchups because... Or, actually, they're not. They're not actually favored. I don't know what I was saying. Because their creatures die so easily. And they have less threats than you. But... You know, sometimes they get you. And that's kind of what happened, I think. So, yeah, I think... Personal opinion off one league... I think Abzan might be the way to go if you want to play Stoneforge along discard spells. Either Abzan or Esper. But yeah. I would probably try Abzan if you really enjoy the playstyle of this deck. So on that note, I'm going to hop over and tell you guys to check out our sponsor, momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. They are the best one-stop shop for anything Magic-related you may need. If you need any Snowlands for Modern or Legacy right now, we've got you covered. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, thank you so much, but please try to tune in live to our Twitch sometimes. It's a lot of fun. If you're watching on Twitch or YouTube in the future, thank you. But please try to give us a like on Facebook and also follow us on Twitter at Mom's Basement MTG. If you're watching on Twitch right now, thank you for watching, but also try to check out our YouTube channel for the best Standard, Modern, Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Pauper content. On top of that, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter is at RichardTMTG. I talk Magic, League of Legends, TFT, memes, anything else you really want to talk about, I'll talk it with you. If you're looking for other forms of social media to find us at, you can find at Mom's Basement Games is where you can find Mom's Basement Games. Or you can find me at RichieT2196. But there's one more thing before I go, which, as you all know, it is time to give away the 4 Commander decks. That's right. We're going to give away all of the Commander decks. We're giving away one of each. That was our giveaway this month. And as per usual, the way that I decide who wins is I'm going to randomize this 3 times. The first 2 people, sorry, you're out of luck. The third one is the winner, who I will end up whispering right after this. So let's get to it, shall we? The first not winner is not now. Ghetto Penguin 52. I'm sorry, but you unfortunately have not won a set of all the Commander decks. But you're not the only one to not win, as the other person that did not win the Commander decks is 5 Asui. You did not win the Commander decks, unfortunately. I apologize. But let's find out who actually did, shall we? The winner of the Commander decks is Dizit All Coffins. Congratulations, Diz. I hope I didn't butcher your Twitch name too bad there. Congratulations. I will be whispering you right after I end this to let you know that you have won one of each of the Commander decks. So, with that, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will catch you guys later.